Who would you say was the most organized in there?
Oh, by far the Mexicans, man. The gangs, the Mexican mafia, the Texas syndicate, the Norteños, the Serranos, like they was by far the most organized. Like they was by far, because I was in Texas, Louisiana, West Virginia, and Kentucky, and in every one of those spots, them dudes had it on lock. Like
Yeah.
they had their stuff together. Now the second would probably be the Asians, the Asian people, like the Chinese triads, because we had some of those in there. But yeah, for real, like the Mexicans, they had it locked down, man. I've met all kinds of Congo Blast, 18th Street, the Emmys, the Texas Syndicate, like every Mexican gang, the Serrano, what was it, the Paisas, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like everything, them gangs was the Mexicans. I remember the Mexican mafia. I forget the name of the group that they was beefing with, but it was only like 3 or 4 of them in my block, right? But it was like 15, 20 of the Mexican mafia, and they just decided that they weren't gonna have that gang on the street, on the block no more, and they just took them out, like literally just went and they what would you call it? Unalived them. Yeah.
Wow, they wasn't messing around.
No, they don't play. And the one thing about the feds is, the respect level is like way high. Like you do something that's disrespectful in the feds, they're gonna put some hands on you. They're gonna put some holes in you and some hands in you.
Yeah, and another thing too is in the feds, the level of intelligence of the criminals in there is next level, because a lot of these guys were getting money on the street, or they're connected to somebody who's getting big money. So you're thinking, oh man, I robbed the bank. There's dudes in there who were making $1 million a month. You know what I mean?
Millions. And I met some dudes, man. I met some, like, for real, I met some real live, like, money. Like, I met Russian mafia, Chinese mafia, Italian mafia, like the United States and from across the seas. I met pirates. Like, dude, I think the craziest thing that I met was the Black Hand. You ever heard of the Black Hand?
Yeah.
So the Black Hand Bobby, man, he little young, he didn't even seem like a threat, right? But he at this prison, I was at Big Sandy, he had about 450 soldiers underneath him, and they did whatever he said, period. Like if he said, get down on your knee and give me some head, then you was getting down on your knee and giving him some head, or you was dying, period. It was just that simple. It was just that simple. Because I asked Joker, I was like, Joker, man, what, first I asked him, how did Bobby become the hand? He was like, he was blessed. Like he was born into the gang. He'd been a gang member all his life, blah, blah, blah. And he earned it. And I'm like, Bobby? Because I'm like, he looked, for lack of a better word, he looked soft.
Yeah, but he ain't. That's the misconception, is that you think the shot caller or the main dude, he's nondescript. You would never know.
Yeah. And I remember one time that we had a big incident happen at the prison, and they locked us down, and the captain, the captain, the major, the warden, and the SIS lieutenant, right? They came to the block, they pulled Bobby out of his cell, and they had a little powwow in the day room, and I could hear what they were saying, and they was basically asking him if he would make sure that his dudes didn't retaliate, and that it was a dead issue, and they was negotiating with him. Like, dude, this is crazy. Like, it was just crazy.
Now, even when you were in there, as far as like, because dudes out here, man, they run around and they think like telling is no big. I mean, dudes are telling left and right. And in there, how do they treat those people when they find out that you're a hot boy?
Right. So like, for this, how I got introduced to Beaumont. My first actual USP was Bloody Beaumont, Texas. So we're in the receiving and departure, that R&D. We're in R&D, getting ready to come out. The captain comes out and he's like, listen, he said, any of you boys in here hot? And we was like, what? He said, any of y'all got any co-defendants? Anybody, like y'all got any co-defendants? You got a crazy case, like you raped somebody, child molest, anything? Any of y'all got any of that? He said, because if you do, don't go out here. Don't go out here. They're going to find out and they're going to hurt you really bad. So don't go out here if you hot. So I'm like, dang, and like I'm looking around and ain't nobody saying nothing, I'm saying, all right. So when it seems like everybody knew that we was coming. Like, but the truth of the matter is they know when we there. They know that we getting ready to come out there waiting. So it seemed like the whole compound was out on the yard and we had to walk this gauntlet. And as I was walking the gauntlet, you could hear dudes saying like, yo, where you from, homie? Yo, where you from? Like, blah, blah, blah. And you see dudes that recognize other dudes. They're like, oh, yeah, what's up? So they asked me where I was from. I was like, Ohio. And they was like, yo, Link, so people right here. So I'm like, okay, so I go over to them and it was Link and he was like three, 4 other dudes. And he was like, yo, what's up, homie? Where you from? I'm like, yo, I'm from Akron, blah, blah, blah. He's like, all right, that's cool. Yeah, man. He said, well, check this out, man. You got your paperwork? And I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because like I had heard about the paperwork issue, and at that time you had to have your paperwork to get on the compound. Otherwise, you got 2 weeks to produce your paperwork to show that you ain't hot. And what I mean by hot, I mean like you ain't testify on nobody. You don't you ain't testify or told on nobody. Or that was that 51K or 5K or whatever the thing that they got.
You got a 5K on there. That means you somehow work with the government.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. If you ain't got it, you can't have that. You can't have like a sex case, like rape or murder or molestation or anything like that, right? And you can't be hot from another compound. You can't have did some mess on another compound and came to this compound and think that you're gonna be safe, right? So I was like, man, yeah, I got my paperwork. And once I produced my paperwork, then it was all love, right? But up until that point, like I seen dudes like come on a compound and they might have been on a compound for a good minute. And then somebody will come in and be like, oh yeah, dude, so-and-so like did XYZ. And you'd be like, what? And next thing you know, he getting poked up. You know what I'm saying? And you like, dang, dude was cool. But they either ran him up top or when I say that, they either made him check into the hole, right? They let him go. They let him go. Like they just told him, like, look, you go on up to the captain's office. Tell him that you need to go check in, or they put some hands on him. You know what I'm saying?
Too, where a guy, like you said, was cool, lifting on weights on the yard and running around. And dude, like I don't know who showed up, but like you said, he came out of the chow hall and went right to the lieutenant, and basically they escorted him right to the hole. And that was the last time everybody seen him. But man, they went back to his locker, and he had a 2 locker. They took everything out. They took everything.
Yeah, they gonna take you. You ain't going. That's the other thing. When they run you off the compound, you go on with what you got on your persons right then and there.
That's it.
You ain't gonna get none of your property, none of it.
What's some of the things that get you caught up in there? Because I know I always tell people gambling, drugs, messing with punks.
Yeah. Well, I'll add gangs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Because alcohol is big business in prisons, man. Big business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you start messing with the alcohol trade, and then the gang is a lot of politics.
And thieves. You can't be a thief, boy. Thieves get treated bad. If you a thief, ooh, I done seen thieves get, boy, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught up knowing that you've been stealing from people, man, because that's the worst thing among honor. If you like to say honor among thieves, even though we're not like, I mean, you're a bank robber or you're a drug dealer, but if you're stealing in prison, the code, bro, you that's a wig split.
Yeah, that's a absolute no for any car. Like that we call it for any car. If any car got a thief, it's over with. Like and like if we know that like say if Ohio find out that dude from Virginia is a thief, right? And the Virginia car don't want to do nothing about it, we liable to run the whole car off the compound.
Now,
like, for real.
How does it work? Because a lot of people don't understand like the different cars and how things are handled internally, because like you said, the white boys told you that they handle their own, and so within each car they have their own disciplinary rules. Because I've seen where
Right.
dudes like, and the thing is, you don't want to get caught up in that, because if you say something about another dude in a car and now you said it, they're gonna go and
Yep.
check now. So you put
Yep.
the whole car in jeopardy by saying that you heard so and so, and that could start a whole bunch of shit too.
Yeah. So, man, there's been situations where, like, okay, so the disciplinary process, the way that it's broken down, this is how I usually break it down. In the city jail, like when you're in the city jail, it's usually like what neighborhood you're from, right? Because everybody's pretty much local. They know there's the city jail. When you get to the state penitentiary, it's basically what city you're from, right? So everybody's from different cities in Ohio. But when you go to the feds, it's about what state you're from or what region you're from.
Mm-hmm.
So you go into, and they call them cars. That's the car. You in the Ohio car, or you in the Texas car, or you in the AB car, or you in the Mexican Mafia car. So even if the Christians is considered a car, you in the Christian car,
Yeah.
right? So, then they got the renegades. That's the ones that don't claim anything. So that's a car in itself too.
Yeah.
So what happens is, like, say that I had a beef with somebody from, like, for example, I'll give you an example. I had a store. What I mean by a store is I sold commissary and I sold like stamps. And so you could come to me and I would sell you stuff at a profit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we would trade goods. Like you give me whatever the monetary value, and the feds is stamps. You give me some stamps, I give you some commissary, or give you whatever you want. At any rate, I also cooked, also ran a poker table. And I moved my organization, my enterprise, from one block to the next, where this other guy had the same thing set up.
Yeah.
And I started taking over his business, right? And the only reason I did it was because the homies was like, "Yo, Rick Reed, come over here, man. Come over here. Like, this dude is he a piece of crap, man. Come over here, set up over here, man. You'll be good over here, man, because you good." I'm like, "All right, bet." So I moved over there, set up shop, and started shutting down his little things. Well, he ended up owing me some money. And when I went to him about the money, he was like, "Dude, I ain't paying you." Right? He said, "The white boy that you got running the table, get it from him." And I'm like, "Dude, it ain't my responsibility to collect your money from him. You owe me." You know what I'm saying? So you knew that money was mine. It ain't his, it's mine. And long story short is, we got into it, right? And I wanted, like, I tried to squash it, but he was adamant that he wasn't going to pay me. And when we got into it, and we both went to the hole. When I came out of the hole, because they let me out of the hole, he got caught with a bunch of cigarettes and drugs and stuff. But his homeboys pulled out on me and was like, "Yo, man, what happened?" Right? Because they had a no hands policy. You ain't supposed to just jump one of them. You know what I'm saying?
Where was
But
he from?
he was from Georgia.
Okay.
He was from Atlanta, right? But at this particular prison, they want to have a no hands policy. And usually the no hands policy is what, like, the Crips or the Bloods, or, the Vice Lord, something like a gang. It ain't like a state, but they just happen to have this no hands policy. So it turned into a big old issue, to where now I gotta, because they thought that I was gonna, I guess, I don't know, that they thought it was going to be an issue. But when I explained to him what happened, and his homeboy, who happened to be there to witness the whole thing, he was like, "Yeah, he did that." And they was like, "Oh, okay," and they ended up paying me the money. But so it's just about, like, you certain people, like Ohio, we call ourselves the Ohio players. Like, you can come and get a fair one from us. Like, we can do it however you want to. We can go from the shoulder. We can strap up with some hawks. We can do whatever you want to do. You can get a 1-on-1. But when it's over with, it's done between the car. It ain't gonna be no beef, right? We all agree that, look, these two, they gonna go at it. And if y'all don't agree to that, then we just gonna crash and see who goes out. Right. And that's pretty much, that's why they call it crashing, because our cars will crash into each other.
What kind of money was being made on the poker table back then?
Dude, so I made roughly, so I had a basically a quarter poker table. Like, it was quarter. That's what my charge was. Like, the minimum amount that you could bet was a quarter. The maximum amount that you could bet was $1. You had 3 raises. and I always had a full table. So I had 7 people at my table at all times, and I was making a pretty good chunk. I probably make a couple $100 a day. I also sold cigarettes. I worked in the captain's office, so in the smoking area, I get the cigarette butts and empty out the little cigarette butts and package up cigarettes, and I sell cigarettes for $5 a piece. So
Yeah,
I was
I was telling somebody on another, I think another podcast. I know a guy. He ran a table and he had a buy-in, but it was like a more of a high stakes, and you had to have your people like send the money on the street. Like you would have like a max. So like when you reached your $2,000 or your $3,000, then you couldn't play no more, and then you had to re-up. But like he would pay out because he always had the money, but you had to have like you had so much, and once you reached your max, then that was it.
Yeah, I didn't have. See, mine was just a little game. I had a little like now there was always a big game. There's always like they on the yard, man. They come and they got cash, like they got money. But at my little table, it was like the most that I let somebody go down is probably like a couple hundred. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 100, couple. But usually if I let you go down that much, I know that you're doing something, that you got something that I'm gonna get from you anyways. It might be some weed or some drink, or you know what I'm saying, or you might have some pills or something, right? Or you just got them. I know you got money.
Another thing people don't realize is how much money is being exchanged for sports betting. Sports betting is big.
Dude, that's one of the biggest things in there. Like, listen, I did every hustle there is, bro. I did every hustle you could think of in prison. Every hustle. So I ran a poker table. I ran a craps table. I ran a blackjack table. I ran a ticket. I ran the lottery, right? When you run the lottery. So, but yeah, man, the money, like we're talking tens and thousands of dollars, not just a couple, like thousands, tens of thousands. That's big money in the bookies, man.
Yeah.
Them bookies making, you got dudes betting $1,000 on a game.
Yeah.
On one game.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I had a dude, one of the clients, he would bet on a weekend, he might go through like anywhere from $500 to maybe $1,000, and it would be my ticket. So I get a commission because I would give the ticket back to the dude. But this dude, I mean, sometimes he just be losing, but he has so much money from the street, he didn't care.
Yeah, man, I'd have met some very, very extremely rich people, man. That and the thing is, they rich. You can see it, like because it's the way they move, the way they operate. You can just see it. Like where the money is. You know where the money is.